Alright guys, I am back with my review of the TNA Lockdown 2013 pay-per-view, and I have to say I really like the ending. I like the way they did the Bully Ray heel turn. He's the president of the Aces and Eights. That's the big news. I mean, we all expected it, but it was good, and that's way more important than trying to swerve people. So I'm glad they didn't try and pull out some weird swerve, and they just went with Bully Ray being the president. It's simple, but it was good. I like the way they did that. But the show overall, I didn't really care for much on the show. I thought the opening match, the triple threat, was okay. The tag match was the best match on the show. Knockouts match, Joseph Park, the Lethal Lockdown, it was all really lackluster. And the main event, even though I really liked the finish and I like what they did with Bully Ray, it was still just an okay match. And you had Kurt Angle in there trying to put on a good match with Wes Briscoe, and it's not that the match was really bad, it's just I could not care about a Kurt Angle Wes Briscoe match. And that's not because I don't like Wes Briscoe. I think he's okay. I think he has a lot of potential. He's much better than Garrett Bischoff, but I just didn't care about that storyline. So overall, it was really just an average show for me, but the big news is Bully Ray is the president of the Aces and Eights, and I did like the way they accomplished that. So I am interested in watching Impact to see where they go from here, so that's a good thing. Another thing about the show, it really felt, because the hard camera was on the other side of the arena, it really felt like an old WCW show. Or because of the ramp, it kind of felt like an ECW show too. So that was kind of different. But the first match is Kenny King versus Christian York versus Zema Ion for the X Division title. They hit a cool fall-away slam powerbomb combo in the corner. A lot of dives, pretty much what you would expect. It was good. I wouldn't say it was a great match by any means, but it was okay here. And Kenny King hits the Royal Flush on Christian York for the win. So really just an average match, but I like Kenny King, I like Zema Ion, and Christian York. But I have to say, out of those three, Christian York was the standout in this match. I thought he did a really great job here. One spot I didn't really care for was Zema Ion is in the corner, and Christian York hits a double stomp on him, and Zema Ion's just holding himself up to take the move. And I hate spots like that where the guy has to hold himself up. You see that a lot in CZW death matches where they're using all these gimmicks and the light tubes and stuff, and they have to kind of make the spots work. I remember one key spot in Tournament of Death 2 where Zandig had the chair and it was supposed to be over his face so the guy can hit a rolling senton on him. And instead, the chair just would not stay up. So instead he had to hold the chair himself, and you could just see him holding the chair. And it killed it. So, I don't know. I hate stuff like that. But, like I said, okay match. Joseph Park is talking to Borash, and Christopher Daniels and Kazarian come up and tell him that Dixie wants to see him. I guess they're trying to rib him again. And Christopher Daniels says they're tired of being disrespected. They're going to become the tag team champions. They're quick with a joke and a light of your smoke. God, he's awesome. Joseph Park versus Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan cuts a promo putting down Joseph Park in Texas. He calls Park a mark. And he says, you're about to find out that size matters. Even though Joseph Park is taller and weighs more than Joey Ryan, it was just a weird thing to say. What was the point of that? Joey Ryan is covered in oil. He rubs it on Park's face the entire time, and Park rips out some of his chest hair. And Ryan tries the old spot where this is what wrestlers used to always do. They go for a sunset flip, and then the guy, could be babyface or heel, doesn't matter, would drop on his ass and try to crush the guy. And almost every single time, the babyface or heel will move out of the way and the guy will land on his ass. But here, Joey Ryan actually takes the move, and Park wins the match by dropping his ass on Joey Ryan. So, I don't know. It was a Joseph Park match. I mean, they're all pretty much comedy. Bully Ray tells Brooke he's nervous. He wants to make everyone proud. Hogan comes in and he says, "Hey, Dad." So cheesy. And Hogan says this good little company has a chance to go on to greatness. He says there's something special about Bully Ray, and he wants him to become the leader of TNA, and he wants to live through Bully Ray. Gail Kim versus Velvet Sky for the Knockouts title. This match here, this was a strange one. Oh God, what happened? I didn't even bother writing this down. Gail hits Eat Defeat on Velvet, and Taryn Terrell's counting, and Velvet kicks out. So Gail gets pissed off, thinking Taryn Terrell's just trying to screw her over again. She pushes her in the corner, and she slaps her. And she actually tells her to disqualify her. And Taryn doesn't. Instead, she snaps, she spears Gail Kim, starts pounding her head into the mat. There's blonde hair flying all over the place. And Velvet gets up and hits the facebuster on Gail, and Taryn counts 3. So Velvet wins. I don't know. Robbie E. tells Borash that Rob Terry has held him down for 2 years. He says he's going to make his former bro his hoe. And it plays the sappy video of their friendship. We get Robbie E. versus Rob Terry. Rob Terry wins with the spine buster. This match was fucking painful. My God, this was a chore to get through. Just the crowd did not care. I didn't care. No one cared about this match. And it was just they got way too much time. Borash asks Austin Aries where Bobby Roode is. Aries says he doesn't need Roode. He could beat all 4 opponents without him, but luckily he doesn't have to. Roode walks up and says, "Miss me?" That's it. So the contract problems have been resolved. Bobby Roode is back with TNA, I guess. I'm not surprised. I don't see what the big deal is. These things happen. I didn't expect Bobby Roode to show up on WWE because TNA forgot to sign his contract. Big deal. Like I said, things like this happen, and I think even WWE at one point forgot to sign The Rock to a new contract. The Rock. So things like this happen. It's no big deal. It's over now. Bobby Roode is still with TNA. I'm not surprised. So Austin Aries and Roode versus Chavo and Hernandez versus Daniels and Kazarian for the tag titles. This was a good match. I just have a couple of nitpicks here, and it's really just the finish. I didn't really care for the finish. I don't know. It's just me. I'm not saying it was terrible or anything, but I just didn't like it. And I understand that Chavo and Hernandez are the babyface hometown heroes, but this match really just felt like the Chavo and Hernandez show to me. And it was still a good match, best match on the show, but I just felt like they put way too much focus on Chavo and Hernandez and not enough on the other guys. Hernandez gets Aries up for a backbreaker. Chavo puts Kazarian on his other shoulder. He hits a double backbreaker. It was different. Chavo gets ready for the frog splash, and as he's jumping through the air, Roode tags his leg, tagging himself into the match. So Chavo hits the frog splash. Austin Aries runs in and throws him out of the ring, and Roode steals the pin. So they keep the tag titles. I didn't really like the way the finish was, but I have to give Roode credit because that could have gone really badly. Taryn Terrell tells Borash that she had to stand up for herself, and Gail attacks her again, but it's broken up. D'Lo Brown is giving a speech to the Aces and Eights. He says Anderson is the smartest man in the locker room because they recruited him and he said yes. And he asked who wants to go in first in Lethal Lockdown, and Doc says he wants to go in first. But then in the match, it's Anderson going in first. Doc goes in last. So what the fuck? Kurt Angle says tonight he's going to make Wes Briscoe famous. It's Angle versus Wes Briscoe. First cage match on the show. I know usually they have every match in a cage, but for this lockdown it was just the last 3. This match here, I said earlier, it wasn't really a bad match. I just could not get into this. Could care less about this one. Angle hits a German suplex on Wes from the top rope. Ref takes a bump. Angle gets Wes in the ankle lock and he's tapping out, but the ref is down. So he picks him up, hits an Angle slam on him, and he goes to walk out of the cage. But D'Lo Brown runs out, attacks Kurt Angle, throws him back in, pulls Wes out. The ref comes to. Wes Briscoe wins the match. Lethal Lockdown. Anderson and Magnus start the match off. Next is Mike Knox, or Nux as they're calling him now. Then Samoa Joe, Garrett Bischoff, who gets a "You Can't Wrestle" chant again. Eric Young, Devon, James Storm, and Doc. And finally Sting. And Sting comes out with the weapons, which is really unfair. And I know Taz actually mentioned this on commentary, but I was thinking the same thing. Why does Sting get to come out with the weapons? It doesn't make any sense. It was stupid. So Sting comes out with a baseball bat. He's got 2 trash cans full of your usual weapons. Canes, chairs, lids. And they all just walk around and hit each other with crap. That was it. That was this match. They did hit a huge Tower of Doom spot. Garrett Bischoff is at the top of the cage, and they go up to hit a double suplex on him. And then some of the aces and eights run-ups. There was like a 6-man Tower of Doom. Samoa Joe's on the bottom. He pushes the aces off, and they hit the double suplex on Garrett. From the top of the cage, kind of. He was sliding down, actually, but it was a cool spot. And then Sting tells Eric Young to go up for the elbow drop. And Eric Young climbs to the top rope, and Sting says, "No, go to the top of the cage." And what surprised me about this is Eric Young is obviously a person with mental issues. I mean, he's special now. And I think he's got brain damage from the attack. I think it was the band that attacked him and beat the shit out of him and gave him brain damage. So Sting is telling this mentally challenged person to climb to the top of the cage and hit an elbow drop on Mike Knox. And that was just kind of strange to me, but he hits the elbow drop, pins him. Team TNA gets the win. That was it. I thought it was boring as hell. It was so predictable. And it wasn't very good at all. As soon as the weapons came into play, the baby faces were just destroying the aces and eights with a trash can. It's, oh my god, we've seen the trash can spots. There was no blood or anything. It was just very basic and predictable. The heels have the man advantage. And I don't know, I didn't care for the Lethal Lockdown. There was a guy standing behind the announcers, though, wearing a "I'm a Vince Russo guy" t-shirt. So it's Bully Ray versus Jeff Hardy for the world title and the leader of TNA. Jeff Hardy, a little thing I noticed, is when Jeff Hardy comes out, he's singing his entrance music like he always does, and there's a line, "Don't want to mess with me," but his lips clearly say, "Don't want to fuck with me." And Taz lets us know that Bully and Hardy have respected each other for many years. And he says, "I can tell you that from behind the scenes." Oh my god, Taz was full of just some crazy-ass lines in this match. There was a spot where Bully Ray kicks Jeff Hardy off the top rope and he crotches himself. And Taz says something like, "I don't know what's worse, him getting kicked in the mush or landing right on his oatmeal." And then a couple minutes pass and it sounds like Taz farts on commentary. If you don't believe me, go back and listen, because something happens, it sounds like farting, and the announcers are really quiet the entire time. And I'm going to assume it was Taz. But he also says this match would be better if it was Devon versus Jeff Hardy or D'Lo versus Bully Ray. And Kennelly says the Aces and Eights already competed in Lethal Lockdown. They lost. So he kind of owned Taz with that comment. But Taz was so annoying on this show. And it really reminded me of when he would do the Royal Rumbles with Jim Ross. And he would constantly talk about how SmackDown is so much better than Raw. And when a guy would come out for the Rumble, he would say, hey, that's a SmackDown guy. I bet you wish you had him on Raw. I hated that shit, man. It killed the Rumble for me. I can't remember if he did more than one Rumble, but it killed every Rumble because of his lame-ass jokes. Garrett and Wes Briscoe climb up the cage, and Bully and Jeff Hardy fight them off. Bully hits a 6 sit-down powerbomb on Hardy off the top rope. Hogan and Brooke come out to cheer Bully on. The Aces and Eights climb back in, and Bully hands Hardy a chain. They're standing back to back, ready to fight off the Aces who are climbing into the cage. And Devon's facing Bully Ray, and he pulls out a hammer, and he hands it to Bully Ray. And Bully Ray takes the hammer, and he turns around, he hits Jeff Hardy with it, lays him out, covers him, gets the win. New world champion. So Brooke Hogan and Hawk are freaking out about this. They're screaming, and Bully says Brooke means nothing to him. He calls Hogan an old bastard. He grabs a microphone and says, Devon, let that stupid bitch cry. This is exactly why Bully Ray is a great heel. He's just got a natural charisma to him to be this bad villain. And it goes all the way back to ECW when he could get people so riled up it would cause them to jump the railing. And I mean, he's just got a gift for being a dickhead, pretty much. So I like the way they set it up, trying to swerve people and convince everyone he was a great babyface. And for a lot of people it seemed to work, at least for the fans that go to the Impact Zone. So I like the way Bully just turned on Hogan and Brooke here. He says he used Hawk, he screwed Brooke, and he fooled all of the fans. He's the president of the Aces and Eights. The fans threw a bunch of crap into the ring, and Taz says it's a great night to be a bad son of a bitch. And that was the end of the show. So it ended on a great little cliffhanger here with Bully Ray revealing he's the president of the Aces and Eights, and made me want to watch Impact. So I am excited to see where they go with this whole thing. I'm glad Bully Ray is a heel again. He was one of my favorite parts of Impact every week when he was a heel, and then they started doing this lame stuff with Brooke, but all of that seems to be over now. They're going to move forward with Bully Ray as the president of the Aces and Eights. And one of the most important things about this is with Bully Ray being in charge, the Aces and Eights might start winning some fucking matches now. I mean, they've been booked like crap this entire time. But I feel that with Bully Ray as the leader, it might change. So overall, average show. I expected a lot more with them having more time to build up this pay-per-view. It still didn't really deliver for me personally. But hopefully they can improve for the next one. But yeah, just an okay show. So that's my review of TNA's Lockdown 2013. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave your thoughts on this pay-per-view in the comments, and thanks for watching. Bye. Main event, even though I really like the finish and I like what they did with Bully Ray, it was still just an okay match. And you had Kurt Angle in there trying to put on a good match with Wes Briscoe, and it's not that the match was really bad, it's just I could not care about a Kurt Angle Wes Briscoe match, and that's not because I don't like Wes Briscoe. I think he's okay. I think he has a lot of potential. He's much better than Garrett Bischoff. But I just didn't care about that storyline. Or because of the ramp, it kind of felt like an ECW show too. So that was kind of different. But the first match is Kenny King versus Christian York versus Zema Ion for the X Division title. They hit a cool fall-away slam powerbomb combo in the corner. A lot of dives. Pretty much what you would expect. It was good. I wouldn't say it was a great match by any means, but it was okay. So overall, it was really just an average show for me. But the big news is Bully Ray is the president of the Aces and Eights, and I did like the way they accomplished that. So I am interested in watching Impact to see where they go from here. So that's a good thing. Another thing about the show, it really felt, because the hard camera was on the other side of the arena, it really felt like an old WCW show. Alright guys, I am back with my review of the TNA Lockdown 2013 pay-per-view, and I have to say I really like the ending. I like the way they did the Bully Ray heel turn. He's the president of the Aces and Eights. That's the big news. I mean, we all expected it, but it was good, and that's way more important than trying to swerve people. So I'm glad they didn't try and pull out some weird swerve, and they just went with Bully Ray being the president. It's simple, but it was good. I like the way they did that. But the show overall, I didn't really care for much on the show. I thought the opening match, the triple threat, was okay. The tag match was the best match on the show. Knockouts match, Joseph Park, the Lethal Lockdown, it was all really lackluster, and the